Hey guys, Joe with BitRaged. So it's Tuesday, October 2nd. I want to jump into Bitcoin here because the structure has developed a bit. It's getting a little bit more interesting. So you can see here on the weekly chart, this entire move is one big correction. So you have some momentum within it and you have some moves that are impulsive, but the majority of the move is corrective, as you can see here on the daily chart. So here on the daily chart, maybe it gets a little bit clearer for you. We have, this move here, a big ascending channel, breaks to the downside. We're starting to just get a mirror image of that pattern where it's very likely that we just sell or we go a little bit higher and then get the sell. And so there are a couple scenarios and opportunities we need to look at for the week ahead. But the larger, bigger picture is this is a move down. This would be just one big correction to then complete this move, at least down to here if it plays out. So looking at it here, what can we see as a potential opportunity to get involved in the market? So you can see as we drop down in time frames, it gets clearer and clearer for us to see exactly what is going on. So I'm looking at it like this. I'm looking at the most recent two touches here on this structure and then this larger structure here. So we could have a line like this, right? And that would give us just an ascending. I don't have that in because we do have this as outer structure. So it doesn't really make sense to have a whole bunch of lines in when we know that is there anyways. But here's what I'm looking at. And we'll jump down to the 1 hour and really look at how we can get involved. But I'm looking at a couple things. Can we get a buy out of this structure here? Move up, just kind of creep our way up, maybe all the way to here. And then sell from here. That is possible. Or can we go just a little bit higher if we do get that move to the upside and move all the way back to outer structure? So as figures, as numbers, we have 7,000 and about 7,600, that area there. So can we complete that move? That's the question I'm asking myself. If this kind of just trickles its way down, well, do we see any reaction here on this structure? And that would be about 6,300. Or do we drop a little bit lower to, 6,200, that area, and then see a reaction back to the upside? That's kind of the scenarios I'm looking at to play out for the week ahead. We've been in this corrective structure for a couple weeks, about a month. So it may not play out exactly this week. It may take, another week or so to play out. So we have to be patient with it. So down on the 1 hour chart, this is entry territory. You can see we had more of this structure, which did break to the downside, but it's kind of short-lived. It didn't really commit to itself too fully. If you would have taken this trade, you're fine at this stage, and I would likely manage this as a break-even trade simply because of how the structure is forming. Kind of got a mini double bottom here. I wouldn't want to be in a trade that this kind of just moves its way up and I'm in a loss. It doesn't really make sense. But what I'm looking at to potentially take this one direction or another is, does this kind of just give us a descending channel here? All the way down to outer structure at about, 6,500, that area. Do we get this kind of a structure to then get the move back up to those areas we talked about a few minutes ago to then get the bigger sell? The other thing I'm looking at here is if this kind of just trickles its way down like this and then gives us more of a flag right here on outer structure, I'd be looking to take that short because that would give us a nice continuation pattern to take this short. You can see it has an element of ascent to it anyways, so it makes sense. So if we do move down even further, and let's say we don't get that flag and it just kind of trickles its way down, I'd be interested at these areas here. So right around 6,300 and about 6,200, I'd be interested to see, do we get any kind of reaction to then move back to the upside before we get the bigger sell? And The reason why we're still anticipating that sell is simply because of how the structure is forming. You know, you can see we have a very clear move down. This is just an ascending channel. We get the break to the downside. This is an ascending channel. And if this moves down and then moves back up, gets that one more leg up for, you know, a third touch up here, and then sells, that would be very, very likely to see that happen if we do get that move back to the upside. So we could get some short-term buying opportunities within this structure as it is developing, but we have to be prepared for the fact that this is a strong move to the downside, and this whole move here has just been a corrective ascending channel. We could move up, pop up to about 7,000 and then get the sell. And so those are the scenarios that I'm really looking at. You can see I've kind of reined in outer structure up here so we can focus on the pattern, and that is important. I think a lot of times as traders, it's easy to get hung up on trend lines and all of that. Trend lines are only important as it shows you the framework, as it shows you the nature of price action and the behavior. The behavior of what is going on right now is far more important than any trend line. So whether you have, let's say, you know, a trend line in here, or, you know, you have your trend line like this, or, you know, like that, it doesn't matter as much as this whole move is just one big correction. And where did it come from? A strong move to the downside. So it's the behavior. It's understanding that this is how the structure plays out. This is how the market moves. And so the trend line isn't important. What is important is the nature of what price action is doing right now. So as it stands here, if you're looking for more of the buy setups, you can look at this as a move up, this as a correction. We get the move up, and then it just kind of moves back down. We get more of this kind of structure. What does that give us? Well, that gives us the move up. This would be a continuation. And so if we do get any kind of reaction here, I would be interested in that, because it is likely if we get a good clear signal like this, and we get that here, it's very, very likely we'll see this move back to the upside, at least to about 7,000. So that's very, very likely to see if we get any kind of descending channel there, any, you know, clear 1 hour rejection off this level here, about 6,300. It would not be uncommon, because it is giving us more of that kind of structure where this is the move up. That would be the big continuation to then head higher. And it's possible, and the reason why I would be interested in this trade is it's possible for this to break and go a little bit higher to about 7,700 before it finally does commit to this sell. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I'm interested in the buy because it doesn't have to react here. It could go all the way to outer structure, and it's possible that we go a little bit higher than that. So I'm keeping this very neutral because this could just give us a sell setup. You know, any kind of continuation right here on the trend line would be nice, and then it could just break and go. But I'm also being neutral enough to say, okay, this is looking more like a buy setup, and if we get more of that reaction here at about 6,300, I'm definitely going to be interested in taking that long. Now, if we don't get that and we get the sell setup, I'm happy to take that as well. But just understanding that is a possibility. Those are the scenarios we can look at, you know, for this week to play out. And if we get any of those, I'm happy to take the trade. If we don't, I'm happy to wait and see what the market does give us. I'm happy to wait and see what the structure develops into. As of right now, there is no trade. There's no entry as such. So I wouldn't be just popping on entries. You know, it just doesn't make sense. But I am interested in this if we get a clear setup. So that's what we're looking at. Hopefully that helps you. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of clarity on what you can look at for the week ahead. Appreciate you guys watching. Take care now.